Thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. This week we will feature first responders and the developments in both programs and facilities. Cape Girardeau Police Department Public Information Officer Adam Glick will be here to talk about programs and how the department is working to reach out to you and form stronger bonds and trust. Cape Girardeau Fire Inspector Captain Ivan LeGrand will be with us to share some of the new developments in the facilities of the department with a new station and remodels and equipment. Just where your tax dollars are going. Plus, we'll introduce you to Southeast Missouri State University Professor Fred Jones, who helps facilitate the Fault Line Film Festival, an annual narrative short film competition for university students throughout the Midwest. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
Whether it's for business or just a getaway, Cape Air is your wings in the Midwest. Cape Air serves 6 destinations, including Kirksville, Quincy, Fort Leonard Wood, Cape Girardeau, Marion, and Owensboro. Fly from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis with fares starting at just $49 each way. With easy connections through Lambert St. Louis International Airport, Cape Air connects you to the Midwest and the world. Book today at capeair.com or call 800-CAPE-AIR and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. In recent years, communities across the United States are finding relationships between law enforcement and the citizens they serve have become strained. But the City of Cape Girardeau's police department is not sitting by idle, hoping for things to just get better on their own. In fact, they're instituting as many programs of outreach as they can to make sure the community knows they care. Public Information Officer Adam Glick is here to tell us more. Thanks so much for coming by, Glick.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I know about a lot of the programs, but there are probably some viewers who don't know everything that's been going on, especially in the past year or two. And Chief Blair has been very proactive in creating programs. So let's just start with, say, Coffee with a Cop. What is that about?
Okay, yeah, we started doing that a couple years ago. And it's just another way for us to get out in the community. Some of the criticism that we get are that police officers are in their cars driving around and they don't really interact with the community that much. And that is true to a certain extent. Our calls for service continue to go up, but you know, a lot of times officers don't have that time to get out of their car and interact with people. So what we've done with Coffee with Cops, we set up a different location about once every month. And we go to a local business, either a gas station, we're going to do a bank here next month. Last month we went to the Salvation Army, and the business provides the coffee, we provide the cops. So we show up, we drink coffee, and we open it up to the public. So if they want to come out there and just talk to the police officers, there's no hidden agenda. We're not trying to do any tricks here or anything. We're just trying to get to know the community and the community get to know us in kind of a non-confrontational environment.
Have there been any things that have been brought to you that have created any changes in procedure in the department?
Well, you know, some people come out there just to kind of hang out and drink coffee, but there are people that come out there with actual concerns and legitimate problems that they want to tell us about. I know we did one a few months back where we had an individual, the event started at 7 o'clock, but he was there almost an hour early just waiting on us to get there. And he had a lot of problems in his neighborhood that he wanted to tell us about. And he listed several issues and that we were able to address. And you know, one issue he had were people speeding on his street. So I was able to get with our traffic division, and they were able to run some radar and try to curb some of that. So yeah, there are a lot of issues that do get brought up with Coffee with Cops that may not get addressed otherwise. Sometimes people are intimidated to come by the police station, and sometimes they don't know who to talk to when they call. So it's just another environment, just another way to communicate with us.
And you've also done some great stuff with like National Night Out, where the police and the community come together and maybe do some demonstrations and some fun stuff as well. Last year it was at Target, this year at Target again, right?
No, actually this year we're going to do it at Bi-State on South Sprague. They're helping to sponsor. Now Target is another sponsor, so they will be present too. But we've kind of added a few things this year. We're going to have a bounce house out there. They're actually going to sponsor a petting zoo. So some neat activities I think people will really enjoy. But again, it's just another way for people to come out, to see the police officers, to talk with them, to interact with them, to check out some of the vehicles that we drive, and really just to get to know one another.
Now, there are also some other programs like Roll Call is another where you go out into the neighborhoods, and I know that has wrapped up for the year, but you'll start that back up in the spring again, right?
Absolutely, yes. That program has been really successful. What the neighborhood roll call is, when we come into work as a police officer, we all have briefing. The supervisor will tell us, he'll list off the wanted people that we're trying to find, different issues in the neighborhoods, different patrol requests, stolen vehicles, that sort of thing. We typically do that at the station, but what we've done with the neighborhood roll call, instead of doing that at the station, we'll go out in different neighborhoods in Cape Girardeau and do the roll call there. And it's not just limited to police officers. We invite the community out there to come too. So that way the people that live in those areas, they can meet face to face the officers that are actually patrolling that neighborhood, and then they can tell us directly what kind of problems they have, what kind of concerns they have, and hopefully we can come together and make that neighborhood safer and stronger. And
I guess some of the things that I know that are coming to light are possibly like the fear that resides in some communities that the police are out to get them. And so you guys are actually working with the academy. The Cape Girardeau Public School District has their academy, and so you have some programs through the academy as well that help police and local youth kind of get used to each other, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. We have several school resource officers. They're employed by the Cape Girardeau Police Department, but the school district actually pays a portion of those salaries. So we have several officers that are actually in the schools, and they have several different programs in place, but one of the highlights, I think, is the one they do at Central Academy. And that particular program, they call it Lunch with the Bunch. And what they do, every month, the teachers or the counselors will nominate one student from the Central Academy, and they'll base that nomination on grades, attendance, behavior, and then that particular student gets to pick one restaurant in Cape Girardeau they want to go eat at. And they'll get to eat at that restaurant with the school resource officer and one of the teachers or counselors. And the student's lunch is completely paid for. So that program's been a real hit, and they seem to enjoy that.
Well, and it's something for them to work toward, you know. They get to do something fun, but also get to build those relationships with those resource officers, because they're essential to have that trust between them and the students on campus, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And kind of hitting the nail on the head with the whole concept of community policing. You know, most of the times when people interact with a police officer, it's a negative experience. You know, they're getting pulled over, they're being arrested, or they've had something bad happen to them, like they've had something stolen or they've been assaulted, something bad like that. So we want to try to interact with people in a different type of setting. And with the Lunch with a Bunch program, that's all it is. It's lunch with a student that wouldn't get to interact with a police officer in a positive way. So that they seem to really enjoy that, and they get to go eat at a restaurant that they may not get to go eat at. So
building great relationships. Well, and I know that you're one of those faces out on the front lines as well. So thank you so much for coming by to chat with us today. We've been talking with Public Information Officer Adam Glick and how the Cape PD is working to serve and protect by more than just the standard means. On the way next is Fire Inspector Ivan LeGrand with the Cape Girardeau Fire Department. Stay tuned for more of Cape Chronicle.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you. And now, you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
At Southeast Missouri State University, you're here for more than a degree. You're here to do whatever it takes. We don't just learn from textbooks. We learn from each other. That's why we tackle our challenges, fuel innovation, and never settle. We're giving you the tools to learn, to lead, to grow, to do.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. When you hear a fire truck in the distance, is the first thing you think of, hey, I wonder if they finished the remodel on Station 2, or perhaps if the fire engine is new or not? Well, City of Cape Girardeau Fire Inspector Ivan LeGrand can tell you. Thanks for joining us, LeGrand.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here today. So you have had quite a busy year in the department this year, particularly with regard to facilities, some remodels, an annex. So talk to us about, we'll start with Station number 2, because that's had a lot of work done. So what were the deficiencies of the property and how are they changing?
Well, with Station 2, we've added so much equipment and other specialties that the station's crowded, and we have a mechanics bay that's taken up a bay out there, and he'll have to pull trucks out to work on our apparatus and in the rain and everything. So we decided to build an annex for him. He'll have 2 bays large enough to work on our ladder truck and our other engines, and there's 2 of them, so he can work on one while the other one's waiting on parts, or however, whatever needs to be done. Plus, it's large enough that we'll have storage. We have specialty trailers and other equipment that we've outgrown different places, that we need a place to store it and have it centrally located. Along with the annex, we'll have a workout room for the firefighters, where instead of going all over town, different places with the Parks Department, which is, Osage or Shawnee, which is great, we'll have our own workout center there with Station 2.
And where is Station 2 located?
Station 2 is at 378 South Mount Auburn.
378 South Mount Auburn. And I know that local citizens are invited to come by and see the improvements that are being made, and I'm guessing that you'll have like some sort of a grand opening or some
sure. We'll have an open house, and we welcome visitors anytime they want to stop by. We'll have them all the time. But with the annex, that will free up a bay in the station. We'll have storage and also the workout room. And then in Station 2, it's a little dated, so we're going to update the living quarters with separate bunk rooms with showers and restrooms. Also, we'll remodel the kitchen. The way it was laid out when it was built is not working today. So we'll remodel the kitchen, and also the mechanic's office, since he's leaving. We'll remodel that room to have turnout gear, storage, and be able to clean the gear and our other washer and dryer.
Okay, so beyond Station number 2, and people can see the photographs of not only the stations, but also, what did you call it? Not equipment. You call it the trucks, and there's a different name for it. That you call the fire trucks and your equipment.
The specialty equipment?
Yeah, you had a different word for it. We'll think of it in a minute.
Okay.
But anyway, so you can see all of that on the cityofcapegirardeau.org's website. And so I was going back through and looking, and Fire Station 4, you're actually building, the department's building a new fire station. Is that right?
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, the original station was built in 1974, and in 1974, our city limits were a lot closer to it. And since over the time we've annexed more and more towards the interstate and north of the interstate, so we decided to expand. And the trucks are getting bigger also. And that's the last station that we actually have to back in instead of pull through bays. And so for safety and for a better location, they're moving it to Abbey and Lexington.
Okay.
We've got they purchased the property several years ago. They did a groundbreaking for it, and now they're doing some groundwork to prepare for the start of the construction. And it'll be a 3-bay station. The front of it will look a lot like the Station 3 on North Sprigg, and it'll still have the 3-man crew with Rescue 4 and the reserve apparatus in case Rescue 4 goes down for any reason, and then other storage for other vehicles or trucks or whatever gets moved up there.
Apparatus, that was the word I was looking for. It was apparatus, because that's something else that's also coming into play, are the new apparatus that the department is able to be purchasing.
Yes, and we last purchased our new trucks, well, they were new in 2003. NFPA says that they should run first out for 10 years and then be put on a reserve status, and then after 10 years they'll be rotated out of the fleet. And that's, you know, city departments that have the budgets to do that. Volunteer departments will run their trucks longer just because of the money restraints.
Mm-hmm.
So we last purchased all our fleet, 3 engines, a rescue pumper, and a ladder in around 2003, and now it's time to replace them. And we're buying, again, 3 engines, a rescue truck, rescue pumper, that's Rescue 4. It's an engine, it'll fight fire, but it's also a specialty vehicle to carry a lot of rescue equipment for different aspects that we look at, high angle rope, trench collapse, building collapse. So it's a first-in truck, carries more equipment. And then also a heavy rescue truck we're buying to replace a beverage truck we were using, and we had the money left over for it. And also we're also buying a new airport truck in conjunction with the FAA. Ours is, again, overdue to be replaced, and they pay a portion of the fees. The company we went with is Rosenbauer.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at several trucks and sound specs, and they won the bid. So they're building the whole fleet.
Well, it's nice to know exactly where those tax dollars are going, not only for the facilities, but also for the apparatus that you use. Well, we want to thank you, Fire Inspector LeGrand, for coming by to chat with us. All really great information, and you can find out more about the fire department that serves you at cityofcapegirardeau.org. Thanks again for coming by.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Fire Inspector Ivan LeGrand of the Cape Girardeau Fire Department, and next up on Cape Chronicle, the Fault Line Film Festival and Red Carpet Man of the Hour, Professor Fred Jones. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
You have.
Founded in 1877, the American Humane Association has been dedicated to the idea that all animals, including those raised on our farms and ranches, are entitled to humane treatment. Today, animals on nearly 8,000 farms enjoy a better quality of life because of the ethical, science-based standards established by the American Humane Association. Live better, be humane. Choose American Humane Certified products.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
The dome doesn't care. The classroom doesn't care. The stage, the lab, the stadium, they don't care.
I don't care.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Your professor doesn't care.
Your advisor doesn't care.
Your RA doesn't care.
Southeast Missouri State University doesn't care. If you're a Red Hawk, you are a Red Hawk.
This is Cape Chronicle, and I'm Audra Kane. When you're watching the Academy Awards handing out those little gold statues, keep in mind that all great films begin with a story and a director, and some of those directors started with short features. For the Fault Line Film Festival, Festival. It's all about showcasing the talents that are being grown right here in the Midwest. Southeast Missouri State University professor Fred Jones is here to talk with us about Fault Line. Thanks so much for coming.
Audra.
Well, so I only know a minimal amount, and I have a feeling there are some viewers as well who only know a minimal amount about Fault Line Film Festival. How did this come about, and what's the purpose of it?
Well, we got together with a bunch of professors in 2010, and we were trying to figure out something we could do to give an outlet for student filmmakers on campus. So we came up with this idea for the Fault Line Film Festival. And that first year that we did it, it was really just a festival for CMO students. But it was a great success. We had so much interest in the festival, and we had so much participation in it that we started to kind of grow it those next years. And now, at this point, we've kind of expanded beyond Southeast, and we've kind of grown all the way throughout the Midwest. We're probably reaching about 6 different states at this point.
That's great, because there's not a whole lot of that around here. In other communities, larger universities, they'll have that, but this is kind of unique to Southeast. So what are some of the categories that students submit under?
Yeah, we have categories for drama, comedy. We have this category called Other, which kind of encapsulates films that don't really fit any definable category. And we also have a mystery thriller category. And we also have added an animation category in the last few years, which has been really successful too.
Okay. Are there intense qualifications that the entrants have to meet in order to get in on this?
Definitely not intense.
Oh,
basically, if you can have a film that's under 10 minutes long and you're a university student, you're good to go.
Okay, so any university that happens to be any university student, they might not necessarily have to be in the Midwest.
And also, that's one of the cool things about the festival. It doesn't even have to be a film student. One of the things we've really encouraged with this festival is to reach out to all student filmmakers. And throughout the years, we always tend to have at least one film made by somebody who's not traditionally a film student, and sometimes those are some of the most successful films we've had.
Some of the films, like I went back and looked, because it started in 2010, and I went through and looked at some of the filmmakers in the past, and they were some fellow students of mine, and I was a little surprised to see some of the ones that had won in the past. What are some of the types of films that have done really well? Because there thus far have been 5, top category winners.
Yeah, it really varies from year to year. Last year, for example, we had our Best of Festival winner was a romance between zombies. And it was a hilarious film and extremely well done. But other years we've had musicals. In the past, we had a musical about this woman who couldn't find a date, and it turned out wonderfully. And we've had dramas and comedies. All of them have had different success. And that's kind of the fun part about the festival. It's really a variety of topics and styles that you get every year from the students.
So while the submissions might not be open to everyone, the festival is open to everyone, right?
As far as attending the screening, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's one thing we really want to encourage, just the people of the community to come to this. It's a free event. In fact, it's almost better than free because we give out door prizes and have cake and punch and do things like that. But I think it would be surprising to a lot of people in the community how talented these student filmmakers are. They're really a very gifted group who know how to tell a story, they know how to use the technology, and really some of the films you see here are going to be as good as films you'll see at the theater.
And so they do have prizes as far as associated with the festival itself. How does that, and they don't get a little gold statue, but what can they win?
Well, they get a little star statue, but they also get prize money, and that's one of the, I think, the big draws for this festival, because our grand prize, Best of Festival Award, is $1,000, which is a lot for a student. And we also have $250 prizes for category winners, and that tends to be about 6 additional prizes. And then we give trophies to honorable mention as well. So we end up having about 10 award winners each year.
And I made a joke as we introed about the red carpet, but you guys actually do a red carpet walk, right?
We truly do have a red carpet, and we have students come dressed in full tuxedo, evening gowns. It's really fun to see them take this event like it were their Academy Awards. And that's one of the things that the professors love the most is just seeing how the students enjoy this event. Being able to watch your film in front of a big audience and just get that recognition, that's a big deal for student filmmakers.
It might not be something that they would actually ever get to do career-wise because, you know, a very small percentage become actual famous filmmakers. I saw an interview with a guy who does smaller films with Netflix on The Daily Show, and he was talking about how he'd done these big studio films, but he enjoyed the really small working with the students. Do you get a chance to see what they're doing as they're working on their projects?
Sometimes I do. I have one class in film production in which all the students are required to make a short film. So that gives me the chance to see kind of script through production and even some of the post-production process at times. But most of the films that come through, it's a surprise to me as well when they come through. And again, I'm always amazed at the abilities of our student filmmakers.
When when you started putting this together, how did you end up coming up with the prizes? How did you end up creating this event? Was there support not only from the university, but is there support from somewhere else as well?
Initially, all the support came from the university, and we've had generous support from many departments on campus throughout the years, and we still do. But the neat thing that's happened in the last couple of years is that Cape Air has come on as a corporate sponsor. And their support has just been vital to us. It's going to help us grow this festival into something more. We're going to have the ability to bring in, you know, people for guest speakers, to put on master classes, and just to start expanding the festival and make it grow.
Oh, master classes. Now that's something that I know that the film students who maybe get to see this their eyes might widen, because having that opportunity to work with professionals that would teach them a little bit more that they might not have access to without it. Well, it sounds like a great event. It happens at the Bedell, correct?
We'll have an awards ceremony November 9th at Bedell. That takes place at noon. We have the big gala screening November 11th at 7 p.m. and all of those events are free.
Okay, and you can find all that information on the website.
faultlinefilmfestival.org.
Thank you so much for coming by. Professor Jones of the Mass Media Department at Southeast Missouri State University, fostering the entertainers of today and perhaps tomorrow with the Fault Line Film Festival. And thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University, the City of Cape Girardeau, and River Radio Group. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audra Kane. Thanks for watching.